Hello, welcome to this new reading log. I'm gonna start with A Terrified Teacher at Girls' School. So I read 13, 12, and 11. Oh, sorry. I read 12, 13, and 14. I read maybe halfway through this volume because I wanted to start reading A Terrified Teacher after the anime ended. And basically what happened is Nudo decided to leave the school. However, Abi Sensei and the rest of the class didn't want that to happen. So they made a deal with his dad and everything went well. And now Nudo is back to school. And so in the next two volumes, we're entering in this new arc where Abe and the class went to Kyoto for a class trip. However, he found out that his family ancestor used to live in Kyoto because he is apparently a reincarnation of the original Ebe Semi. And yeah, he found out that his ancestors used to live there, and when they entered this shrine, it kind of like made them transfer to another world where he met these four gods that was under the original Semi. And then they wanted Abi Sensei's so this way they can bring back the original Semi. However, everything didn't turn out well because his soul kind of split, and now they have to find his soul. So this way, Abi Sensei can go back to his normal self. So there was like a battle of who can find his soul, and the four dragons were also trying to find it. And so the students had to go around and find the soul as well as fight the gods, which is crazy. And once they gather all his souls, something happened because the four gods, the three of them somehow vanished, and there was a big crack in Kyoto's atmosphere and stuff like that. And without the three other gods, all the other yokai in another dimension will start coming out, and that's not good news for the human. And so Semi was needed to do something, and then he got help with the principal of the school. In this volume, we also get to learn more of the principal. I won't say anything, but the principal had no choice but to help Abi Sensei, so this way the yokai doesn't come out and start, creating chaos. And that also, was solved. Everything went well, and now Sammy just have a lot of question about the principal and about his family ancestor. Yeah, I really like this last two volume because we get to know more about the principal and about his ancestor as well as other gods. And apparently when you are a god and somehow you don't want to become a god anymore, you can become an ayakayashi, means a yokai. So there was I think one student of Abe used to be a god and then become yokai. But yeah, there's more to it. I definitely recommend this manga series. It's just full of fun. It's big fantasy. There is an anime out there, so definitely check it out. I feel like it's just so underrated, but at the same time, it could be, not so much fun for you, especially if there's some part that you don't like, but I totally understand. But yeah, give this a try if you can. This is such a good series, in my opinion. Okay, I feel like this reading might be like a catch-up, because I haven't read a lot of manga for a long time, especially Given. So I read 2, 3, and 4, and this is by Natsuki Kizu. I was looking at my BL section. I'm like, okay, I think I have the complete set. I think I'm maybe missing one, but I was just looking at it. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I need to read Given because I only read the first one. I really like it. I mean, I never really not like a BL, but yeah, so this is all about music. We got two boys that's still in high school and then two other guys who are in college. We got our main character Mafuyu. He was introduced to join this group from a friend, what his name, Ritsuka. I'm trying to remember all their name, but yeah, so Mafuyu, he had a really tough, I guess he had a really bad memory with his ex. And then something happened with the ex, and when it comes to the music, he kind of had a close-up where he doesn't really express his emotion until one of the band members telling either you want to do something about that feelings or not. And that kind of made him realize to really open up what happened. Well, he didn't exactly share what happened about his past, but he's finally opening about writing more music, and this way he can enjoy playing and writing music at the same time. And on top of that, our other character Ritsuka, ever since like they met, he's been having feelings for Mafuyu. I feel like the romance here is a little bit quick. And so with that, they had their first show, and then after that, more show. The second show they did really well, and then Ritsuka did something, and ever since then, these two, Mafuyu and Ritsuka, well, let's just say they started going out, but it's more like focus on the music more than the relationship. However, the other two member, Haruki and Akihiko, their situation is a little bit complicated, especially Akihiko, because he has a roommate that they just have a fling, I guess, together. They're like childhood friends, but he's always fighting with that roommate, and then one day he had to leave, and so now he's actually staying with Haruki, and he has a crush on Akihiko. Yeah, let's just see, these two are going out, and these two is sort of complicated. But yeah, really nice story. It's all about music, relationship, and just trying to figure things out along the way. Yeah, what else I can say? So I only read 4 because I didn't want to leave with a cliffhanger. There's a total of 9 volumes for this series. So yeah, I'm not behind, but I'm getting there. Of course, there's an anime and I think a bunch of movies. I think that really motivate me to really read more so I can get on the anime. But yeah, so far everything is kind of getting complicated. Haruki was asked to join to his last band for just a side gig, and he did open up to Akihiko about it, but he seemed fine. Yeah, the 4 of them are doing well, but at the same time they're just trying to figure things out. I think when it comes to like romance or relationship, it really kind of mess up the whole band, but for now I'm sure they're gonna figure out. But yeah, really like Given so far and looking forward to read more. I decided to read a new series, which you guys probably seen this in my manga haul. So this one's called Tokyo Tara Rebel Girls, from the creator of Princess Jellyfish Akiko Higashimura. This is the first volume. This is pretty hilarious. It's all about 3 best friends in their early 30s, still single, and pretty much talk about anything what they want, about why they're not married, and kind of complain about a lot of things. And they go to this bar where one of the friends' family own. However, they're very loud, and at the same time there's this young guy that always complained to them, and then eventually like our main character Rinko keep bumping into him because he's like a model. They almost work in the same industry because she's a screen writer, and sometimes they have to hire maybe models or actors to play on their thing. But anyway, it's a really good story. I've heard of this manga before. I wanted to give it a try and read something new. It's really fun, but it can be a lot because there's a lot of emotions, especially about these 3 girls just going through so much about in their early 30s. However, our main character Rinko, she goes through so many ups and downs, getting sort of rejected and thinking that this guy would ask her out. They happen to be coworker, and then this coworker is interested to a younger girl, and at the same time the dude from the bar was hired to be part of the screenplay that she wrote. However, he was very not nice about her screenwrites. It's not called screenwrites, but whatever she wrote, and that made them think that they need another screenwriter. And of course she was very bummed because she found out that they hired a younger girl who might be sleeping with the producer. And of course she was so pissed off. Whenever like she needs to talk to the girls, they have this sort of code. And yeah, and she decided to follow the younger girl and the producers to make sure if they are really dating and stuff like that. And she kind of went too crazy and ordered so much things at this hot spring place, and then her friends were worried, and then the young dude from the bar decided to go after her, thinking that she might do something very bad. But at the same time, something happened. He decided to tell her like, hey, you can't quit this job, because she was planning to quit the job. She just goes through so much. But then he was saying that in order to make it happen, you have to do what you got to do, especially if you wanna get up there. And so he kind of suggested about sleeping together, and of course she was in shock. And yeah, that's how the volume ended. So I definitely need to get more volumes because I do like it. Other than that, it can be very super wordy. So let me show you. I think this manga probably came out early. I'm not sure, but the illustration seems like in the early 2000 or maybe mid 2000. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this story. Have you read it? Yeah, I like it so far. I definitely want to like get more volume. So this is the last part of the volume. Kind of interesting. I think this manga is definitely not for me because there's just a lot of jokes and gags, because this is pretty much about jokes and gags and puns. And yeah, this one's called Nichijou, My Ordinary Life, Volume 1. It's definitely not ordinary. Suddenly you have a student, have a weapon that start to, and then you have another weapon that comes out with a fire. Yeah, it's so random, and sometimes I'm just like, what am I reading? I think the vibe of the story isn't for me. So I decided to just stop reading maybe 1/3 of it. And yeah, I decided to get it because I wanted to give it a try to see if I like it or not. I never heard of this. I mean, I've seen this manga before, but I didn't know what it's exactly about until I read the back. Yeah, it's definitely a lot of gags and jokes. It's not very ordinary, let's just be honest. You also have a girl who's a robot, and a student over here pretty much just doing whatever they want and saying whatever they want. And yeah, so I decided to just stop reading this series and move on because it's just not for me. So if you have read this, let me know what you think. Okay, let's keep going with this reading log. So I think this might be a surprise. So this is another new series called Devil's Line, Ryu Hanada. Well, it's new for me. This is the first volume. This is all about vampires. You got full-on vampires or half vampires, half human. You got vampires that works with the police trying to pretty much protect the people, of course, but at the same time target like vampires who doesn't have any control, especially for blood. So we have our main character here. I forgot his name because I'm always doing it, but besides him we have another main character named Tsukasa. So his name is Anzai. He's like half human, half vampire. He was actually targeting Tsukasa's friend, and now that friend is in custody somewhere, I guess. And ever since then he's been like watching over Tsukasa. I believe she's still in college. Somehow like they grew closer and became friends, and sort of more than that. But then down the line, you also have another group of people who just wants to get rid of vampires. And so they've been targeting random vampires. And now Ansai is worried, of course, because he isn't a vampire. Apparently, there's like a list of vampire. And now the list is out. And maybe that group of people found out. And well, he did get targeted. It was very, very gory. Yes, this manga is very gory. I would say it's very explicit, but it has its moments. But the story is not bad. I'm not gonna lie, but I feel like the story could be better. I think sometimes I'm just like, I don't know what I'm reading, or I just feel like the story is all over the place. I have to be honest, but there's potential because I like the fact that, you got vampires living among with the humans, yet at the same time they're just trying to also save or protect human. But then you have another group that wants to get rid of vampires because of other reasons. So if you guys have read this, let me know. I could show you the pages because it's not that explicit, but again, it has its moments. So basically it's all about vampires, and then of course you got our two main character who happen to be first friends, and I think they're gonna of course become more than that. So let me just start here. Illustration's nice. Again, it can be super gory. It's a lot of action. So yeah, Anzai and Tsukasa, they started becoming friends, and of course it feels like it's more than that because you can tell that Tsukasa maybe have a thing for Anzai, and Anzai have a thing for Tsukasa, because ever since he targeted her friend, he hasn't been like leaving her side. He's always there to protect her, and ever since then, like, they're just always hanging out, especially at her place. But yeah, at the end of it, this is the one of the group of people who wants to get rid of the vampires. They're pretty much like, I guess, hunter, but they don't really have names for that. So yeah, it's getting interesting. Again, it's very gory. And so I believe this is a finished manga. I'm not sure how many volumes are out there. Yeah, I was just curious about this manga series. And again, I just wanted to get out of my comfort zone. I do like reading vampires because the only thing I read about vampire is Serve at the End. So I wanted to just give it a try. And yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad, except the storyline can be better. But yeah, looking forward to read. I think I'm just going to grab like one volume at a time. And hopefully my library has it, because I don't really want to commit something that I'm not entirely sure yet. I forgot to mention this, but since you have half human and half vampire, they do take medicines to control their bloodlust. And then Anzai, I forgot to mention, he does work with the police and other half human, half vampire to basically like look or go after vampires that goes out of control. And yeah, not bad of a story again, so gonna keep going and see where the story goes. Alright guys, I just finished this series called Bless. You probably guys see me read this before. I read 4 and 5. This is by Yukino Sonoyama. This is all about makeup and modeling, but it's mostly focused on makeup. Between 4 and 5, our main character Aya, who wants to become a makeup artist and of course become a professional one day, and then he got invited to enter like a competition because whoever wins will get like a special training from a professional makeup artist. So it's been kind of hard for him because he has to compete with other makeup artists, and I think he's been kind of comparing himself or putting a lot of pressure because he does want to impress one of the judges, I suppose. And yeah, he's still young and he's still learning, but with this competition, he's growing a lot of skills and knowledge, especially about, you know, techniques and skills. And his friend June, who is the model, right now, it doesn't really like talk about her modeling. Like right now, she's just trying to do some practice, especially her walking. And yeah, about the competition with Aya, they did have their first competition. It was focused about a lipstick. And of course, they had to come up with ideas how everything will be so cohesive on the face. And of course, Aya was pressured, of course, since, you know, he sees with his other competitors doing a lot of great things. So at the end of that, even though he didn't get chosen, like, it's not the end of it. There's more to it. So yeah, it's really showing that he needs to up his game and, you know, get better. But of course, you know, no pressure at the same time. When it comes to Aya and June's friendship, there are times they do not clash, but sometimes some disagreement. But at the end of it, they always reminded each other how everything got started for them, because, you know, they were both classmates. And then suddenly Aya was kind of very interested on June's, because June is very tall and beautiful. Aside from that, this volume also talks about the other makeup artists, about their past and how they got into makeup. So yeah, it doesn't just focus about the two main characters, but also the side characters. And we get to know more a little bit of June's side, but not yet when it comes to Aya. So hopefully we'll know more about Aya, like how he got started to, you know, first modeling, then makeup, because it seems like he is the main character here in the story. But other than that, I really like the story. I've been enjoying it, and so of course I'm always looking forward to read more of this. This series is so easy to read. Yeah, really beautiful illustration. Yeah, looking forward to see what's gonna happen next, especially about the competition. It is getting like super intense because, you know, of course, all this makeup artist wants to win, and especially, you know, going to a school where you're gonna be taught by professionals. And then when it comes to June, hopefully she'll get to her modeling, and one day she actually wants to travel, because that's always been her dream. And in order to become like a better model, she has to travel. And so yeah, I'm not sure like how many volumes are gonna come out. I mean, it seems like there's still an ongoing series, so yeah, looking forward to read more. I'm not gonna lie, I miss reading Blue Lock because it's definitely my favorite sports manga so far. So in the last 2 volumes, they entered the competition between Blue Lock versus U20 Japan, which did show in the anime. So I decided to continue after the anime, But a little recap between the two teams. Let's just say Blue Lock did well. And big spoiler, if you have not seen the anime or read the manga, the Blue Lock did win over the Japan team. So that means they're basically the new Japan team. However, there's a twist in this next phase of the Blue Lock program where, I forgot his name, the main guy, decided to invite the old former Japan players to join the next phase. And the next phase is basically they have to choose from 5 famous international professional soccer team, and they can choose which team they want. So if I can remember, it's Brazil. No, is it Brazil? No, it's not Brazil, guys. It's Spain, England, France, Germany, and I forgot the last one. But there's 5 teams. So each players can choose which teams they want, and Isagi choose Germany, and so all of the other Blue Lock members are split. And yeah, it's kind of interesting the next phase because they will be playing and training with professionals this time. And so yeah, it's getting more intense because now they have to really prove themselves to do better, because at the end of the phase, I believe there's only 11 players will be chosen to the next phase or become the new Japan team. So there's going to be the Blue Lock members and the old former Japan team. Hopefully that wasn't confusing. So yeah, Isagi is in the Germany team. So this is one of his teammates named Kaiser. Oh my god, he's a cutie. Anywho. So yeah, Isagi is going through a lot of obstacles because he has to deal with a lot of professionals, especially Kaiser. He has to really like prove himself that he's going to be one of the 11 players, because there's only 11 players that will play in the field. And there's a wild card, guys. Kunagami is back. So he was in the wild card, and of course he had to go through a lot of obstacles, and he was the winner for that wild card, and he is actually in the same team as Isagi. So they had their first competition versus Spain, which where Batra is in right now. So yeah, it's kind of sucks that all the Blue Lock members, well, most of them, you know, like the main guys are split, but there are some like Blue Lock members are in Isagi's team, like I think Raichi, Korono, and I forgot the others. But anyway, the first competition was intense because Yoichi, Isagi, and Kunagami had to prove. So the main coach for Germany is Noah. I forgot his name, guys. I keep forgetting people's names. But yeah, Noah, like one of the greatest soccer player. And he's the coach for Germany, and he was telling Isagi and Kunagami, you guys need to prove to me now if you're worth being in my team. If not, I think they'll be out or something. But anyway, at the end of volume 19, it was super exciting because it was the last goal. Isagi decided to pass the ball to Kunagami. At first, these two didn't get along because Kunagami had a change of personality. I think he just went through so much tough time during the wild card. And yeah, he was in shock that Isagi passed it to Kunagami, and of course Kunagami made that last shot. So as a result, the Germany team won. But oh my god, it had to like ended where Kunagami kicked the ball and he made a point, and now I need to get the next volume. Oh my god, I love Blue Lock, guys. I love reading Blue Lock. It's just super exciting. And not to mention, like, reading Blue Lock is super, it's such a breeze. It goes really fast. But yeah, I just love it. And you get to see so many new players from different, you know, countries and teams. Yeah, it's getting exciting. There's already a lot of let's just say spoiler because of social media, which I'm not happy. So yeah, for now I'm just gonna follow and read the manga because you can read this online, but you have to pay for it. So yeah, love Blue Lock. I think Blue Lock is releasing every month right now. So because in Japan there's already like over 30 volumes. I think volume 20 should have come out this month. So yeah, can't wait for volume 20 because this is just gonna get more intense, and again, more new players. And it's one of the most interesting is that since they have to go meet this new people, they don't speak Japanese. So they have this earphones, so whenever like Kaiser speak in German, their earpiece will translate it, if that makes sense. So it's very high tech, and that way everyone can understand each other. So yeah, really cool. Can't wait to read more of Blue Lock. Okay, I'm gonna wrap up this reading log. This time I'd say I did pretty good, not too bad. I did started reading a new series, Tokyo Tarareba Girls. That was quite funny. I'm definitely gonna check out more volumes of that series. I did drop Nichijou because it wasn't for me. I think the gag and the joke definitely not my vibe. Next we have Devil's Line. This was kind of unexpected. It wasn't so bad, but I'm gonna give it another chance and see where the story goes. So other than that, I finally continue A Terrified Teacher at Ghoul School. It's always fun reading this series. It's never a dull moment. Abe Sensei is just so hilarious. Then we have Given, which I haven't read like forever. I finally continue reading 2, 3, and 4. I really like it, except the relationship in this series is very complicated. Then we have Bless, getting interesting and fun and a little bit intense for our main character, so hopefully everything goes well for him. And then lastly, oh my god, I love Blue Lock, my first sports manga. I need to read more because it's just getting intense and yes, and very exciting, even though I already know that there's a lot of spoilers, but you know what, it is what it is. So let me know what you guys think about these series. Have you read them? Especially Devil's Line, if you read it, or even Tokyo Tarareba Girls. I'm definitely getting or grabbing more new series, which I shouldn't be because I still have a lot of unread manga in my collection. But you know what, I think Whatnot has been like a great place to buy manga for a really good price, because Tokyo Tarareba, Nichijou, and Devil's Line were $3 each. So if you guys get a chance, check out Whatnot, and definitely check a streamer called Comics Blessing. Yeah, most of their like manga is start with $3, and sometimes they have like a rare lot for a really good price. But anywho, definitely check them out. If not, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.